Right. I wasn't expecting that, but hey guys, it's Ashley with another pay-per-view review, this time with me in video, not on any kind of audio form, except you can hear me, so it is partially audio. Okay, let's stop there. Let's just talk about Against All Odds. First thing to note is Taz was away due to apparently a death in the family, so best wishes from me and probably Billy as well to him and his family. This meant that Borash stepped into the commentary table. Christy Hemme, from being ring announcer from a part of the main event, was now backstage and announcing the main event, and SoCal Val actually got to announce all 7 matches out of the 8 that happened. She obviously didn't announce the main event. First match was the #1 contendership to the TNA title, which was actually a good match, but the issue actually came from, well, it was a spot. Basically, it was a moonsault that Zemarion did from the top turnbuckle to Sorensen, who basically, I think it was Sorensen got to the outside and Zemarion stopped him, and then the moonsault happened. From what you could see, it looked like Ion might have caught his knees right on the top of Jesse's head. So basically the referee started the count and went to 10. Zimu kept going on because he was supposed to be the heel in the match, kind of in that kind of role. And then basically the TNA officials were straight out there, and afterwards, during the pay-per-view, Dixie said they're taking him to the hospital, and apparently he's got a nasty neck injury, so best wishes to him, certainly from me and Billy, no doubt. It was a nasty looking thing. Basically, the storyline threw out the window because he was legit knocked out. He wasn't even trying to make a 10 count. It was like, he's gone. So, yeah. It's a shame because that was actually building into quite a good match. This then meant we actually had more time for the next match, which was the Robbie E Invitational match. Basically anybody in the back can accept the challenge, and actually it was Shannon Moore, and on that you'd have probably thought this isn't going to be brilliant, but actually was a pretty good match in my opinion. Some good spots. I mean, it was touch and go whether he'd lose the title, but considering it was Shannon Moore, it was going to probably not. And that's what happened. We had basically Rob Terry on the apron, hitting more of a punch when Robbie E kicked out of a pin, and Robbie E got a DDT. Whether it's a special DDT from Robbie E, I don't know, probably not. Got the 3 count. Robbie E retains. Next match was the Knockouts title match, Gail Kim defending against Tara. The interesting thing was Madison, who was at the side of the ring, she basically kept yelling insults. Whether it was to Tara or Madison, I don't know. Whether it was to Tara or Gail, sorry, I couldn't tell. But then I clearly heard Madison basically scream, "Screw you," and she walked off. So whether that means that tag team isn't there anymore, it seemed Gail didn't care, and this was a very good match. Some very good spots. There was a moonsault from Tara, which was really good, but this kind of led to the downfall. She went down hard. Whether it's a real injury or not, her bad knee basically came into effect. She was holding it quite badly. That unlike with Jessie, this could have been kayfabe. And Eat Defeat came in pretty much soon after. Gail Kim retains. Yeah, this is just looking at the Twitter thing here. Jesse Sorensen, injured in the opening match, is currently being transported to the hospital. And as I say, as it's developed, apparently it's a nasty neck injury. So as I say, best wishes. Next, we have a tag team title match with Matt Morgan and Crimson taking on Samoa Joe and Magnus, and very good tag team match. The standard spots with the hot tag coming in with Matt Morgan, but then there was a very good spot where it looked like Crimson and Morgan were going to get the win, but Joe basically dodged Crimson, and Crimson speared Morgan. Crimson got thrown out of the ring. Then the snapmare and the elbow drop from Samoa Joe and Magnus, and Magnus got the pinfall, and Samoa Joe and Magnus are tag team champions. I have to say a smile is on my face because, of course, Magnus is British, so favoritism, yes, but also Samoa Joe. He's finally got a title again. Yes. He's been deserving of it quite a while, in my opinion, but hasn't got the rub of the green and whatever, so well done to him. Match 5 was the X Division title match between Aries and Shelley. This was match of, I would say the night, but it's probably of the year, and possibly of the last 2 or 3 years for TNA, because it was extremely good. There was a really nice bit from Aries. He did a Death Valley driver on the ring apron to the outside. Really nice. Both of them doing. I barely saw any kind of major mistakes. It was like, I don't know, watching. I've heard some people on Twitter and everything comparing it, well, Twitter and Facebook and all that, actually comparing it to WrestleMania 3, Steamboat and Savage, which might be overdoing it a bit, but it was certainly very good. Sliced bread attempts kicked out, brain busters kicked out of, and then the finish came with a second brain buster, which then got evolved straight into the last chancery, which basically is a neck lock, flipping back on himself and then pulling back on the head. So basically it's like that, but he's basically flipped over and he's holding you back like that. Basically it's a better version of the STF, or a better submission move than what you see at the minute from Cena, or Daniel Bryan for that matter. But anyway, Austin Aries retained. Excellent match. Next we had AJ Styles versus Kazarian. Now, I didn't see the point of this, but as expected, this was a good match because AJ and Kaz have had lots of matches together. Great chemistry. The cost was the third factor at ringside, which was Christopher Daniels in Kazarian's corner. Styles goes for the Pele kick, or get the Pele kick, sorry, he executes the Pele kick, should I say, on Kazarian. Then springboards up on the top rope, and then instead gets a moonsault onto Daniels. Then Styles gets back in the ring, but Kazarian manages to hit his reverse pile driver, fade to black or whatever it's called, and Kazarian gets the win. And afterwards, Kazarian, it's interesting. He kind of looks happy that he's won, but also kind of disgusted at the way that he's won, and that Daniels is like, you lost, kind of thing. But still, was a very good match, I will say that. Then, speaking of great matches, Gunner versus Garrett Bischoff. This wasn't really brilliant. It was okay. It started with some good spots and everything, with Garrett doing some of his moves. Basically, eventually, Garrett wasn't brilliant, but it really was a case of, towards the end, it was basically Bischoff got involved, Eric Bischoff should I say, got involved. Hogan punches Bischoff, crowd goes crazy. But throughout most of the match, Gunner was really on top. Okay, there were bits when Garrett was on the offensive, but some of the stuff he was doing didn't look brilliant, and Gunner was very good. I mean, there was a nice little bit, which was kind of similar to Rocky IV. Neck breakers aplenty on Gunner. On Garrett Bischoff. Hogan's, because they had this thing about basically throwing in the towel. Hogan will need to throw in the towel when Garrett gets too beat up, and Hogan goes for the towel, and Garrett's like, no, don't do it. And then DDT by Gunner. 1, 2, 3. Gunner wins. Garrett Bischoff loses. And I somehow think this story continues probably till lockdown, when Bischoff and Hogan, that's Eric Bischoff, I keep saying that, Garrett Bischoff and Hogan will team up to take on Gunner and Eric Bischoff. So it's a Bischoff in every corner. Okay, it's not every corner because there's only 2 teams in it, but still, it's not looking forward to it. The build was good, but it was inevitable the match wasn't going to be as good as the build, and that's what happened. Hate to say it. Well, I do and don't hate to say it, because I know it's leading to Hulk Hogan being in the ring, and that's always an iffy thing, especially though with Bischoff in there. Bischoff not brilliant. Garrett not bad, but needs better. Gunner's being misused here, because he could be in the television title role. He could have got it back from Eric Young or whatever, but instead they're using him in this storyline. Who knows? Anyway, finally we come up with TNA World Title match. Bobby Roode defending against Jeff Hardy, James Storm, and Bully Ray, with Sting as special guest enforcer. Which was interesting because he had blue face paint. Instead of being red Joker, he is apparently blue Joker. An even more confusing thing, Brian Hebner's shoes that had previous months been blue, all of a sudden had red soles instead. So, did the makeup people decide to paint the shoes and do a different face paint for Sting? I don't know. It didn't look brilliant. It didn't have the same you know, to quote the pun, impact, or excuse the pun, should I say, impact. But anyway, this was actually a pretty good match. Best bit was the crowd. It was like the crowd was a London crowd for at least a few seconds, because they started a chant of Devon's better to Bully Ray, which was pretty cool. But of course, the referee got taken out about 2 or 3 times. You know, the referee got splashed. Ray got the Bubba Bomb on Hardy, no pin. Hardy got a twist of fate on Ray, no pin because the referee's down. Rude speared Hardy, no pin. Storm got his code breaker, it was basically a code breaker on Rude. And Storm did a super kick on Rude, covers, and Ray pulled the referee out during the pinfall attempt, so he was out again. Then Sting was unhappy with Ray getting involved. Then it got to a bit with Rude going for the title belt outside, which Sting wasn't happy and took it away. Rude pushed and spat in Sting's face. Sting then swung it. Rude ducked. Hardy get hit with a title. Rude's like, this is awesome because you're the enforcer, the referee's out. Enforcers apparently have to count out pinfalls if the referee's gone. So the Sting count is slow, but because it's a title belt, apparently it's made out of, 10,000 ton gold, and he's like out cold. And 1, 2, 3. I'm not joking, that's how delayed it was. It wasn't like a normal 3 count. And then Bobby Roode asks him to raise his hand and give him his title, and Sting has to, and all the time it's like Sting is, that's not good. But overall, actually pretty good main event. Overall, very good show. Which, if you look on Wrestling Skill and the shows that were put on, it's probably an 8 out of 10. Because apart from the Garrett Bischoff Gunner match, all of the matches were very good. Okay, the first match got curtailed by the incident with Jesse, but it was still a very good match up to that point. The only negative, and this is what kind of hurts TNA at the minute, the crowd. The crowd for most of it, apart from when Hogan came out and Hardy came out, was pretty much dead. The crowd did not really care at all. Well, they kind of piqued some interest. They did a "This is awesome" chant during the Alex Shelley Austin Aries match, but for most of the other matches, when they should have been cheering, they were just it's just seriously. I still give it an 8 out of 10. Possibly lower it to 7.5 if you want to be really pernickety and take the crowd into it, but the crowd is always rubbish at Orlando. Because they expect it. If you did shows on the road, or pay-per-views more often on the road, it would be good. But if TNA is, if they are in a tough financial situation, like I've heard from various, we can't do anything about it. which is annoying because those London shows from the last 2 weeks were brilliant because the crowd was into it. Okay, they probably had to do some editing in places for some of the bits. Like, I heard that Bischoff got heavily booed, which they had to mix out. They cheered for Hogan, obviously, but anyway, yeah. So overall, actually an entertaining pay-per-view. I know that may sound surprising, but to take into consideration what WWE has been doing on average for the past, well, for 2012, Impact has probably been overall the better, consistent show. Theirs have been good. Raw has gone all over the place. Last week's Raw, with Undertaker coming back, and not last week's Raw, 2 weeks ago Raw, was a very good Raw, and it kind of maintained it. Probably not as good as the 2 weeks ago Raw, but Impact has been better. But I guess we'll wait and see. Anyway, that's all for my pay-per-view review. I want to know what you think out there. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Which bits did you like? Which bits weren't you happy about? What's your thoughts on the injury with Jesse? Because it was a nasty bump. Leave your thoughts. Comment below or whatever. Comment on wherever you see this video, which is probably only on YouTube. I don't know. If somehow it gets out to anywhere else, that's awesome. I don't know how this technology works. I think this is the first time I think this is a mouse. Okay, I'm overestimating myself there. I know it's a mouse, but video editing will be lackluster on this. You don't expect any kind of shebang behind me. I'll do that and then I'll find something to put some shebang behind me, which I won't, but anyway. I will see you probably next week for the review of the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view from WWE, and the next TNA pay-per-view is in, I think, 4 weeks, which is Victory Road, the 1 year anniversary of when Hardy turned up stoned. So in tribute, I think I'm going to get drunk that night and my review will just be, it was something, but that might be spoilers, so I will speak to you hopefully next time, and stop annoying me. I wasn't talking to you.